The Green Bay Packers are stuck in what I like to call NFL purgatory. They're not quite good enough to contend for a Super Bowl just yet, but they're not bad enough to even miss the playoffs. What can Green Bay do and Brian Gutekunst do to try and get this team over the hump and win a Super Bowl? This is a team that struggled in their own division, lost in the wild card round to the eventual Super Bowl champions. How high of a ceiling does this team have moving forward, and what position should they be looking to address in the 2025 NFL Draft? That's what we're going to be attempting to do as we are doing a Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft. They are one of the most difficult teams to draft for. So if you guys do enjoy this video, consider leaving a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, which I will leave linked down in the description below. For just $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board. There's over 500 prospects on there. I've got about 10 to 12 guys left that I still need to study that will be added onto the board very, very soon. And if you guys do enjoy my NFL draft content, it's an easy way to support the channel and educate yourself on some of these draft prospects. Leave a like. Let's go ahead and kick this off with the Green Bay Packers. So we're on the clock here at number 23 overall. And I think this team really needs some help on the defensive line, particularly at edge rusher. Lucas Van Ness has really not developed into the player that this team thought they were getting when they drafted him inside the top 20. And Rashawn Gary is coming off a season where he really struggled under new defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. This team is going to need to get after the quarterback, especially in a division where Minnesota beefed up their offensive line. We know how good the Lions' offensive line is, and the Bears look like they are building a respectable offensive line. You're going to have to get after the quarterback. You're going to have to create pressure consistently, and I think this is the class to address it early. Now, I know everyone's going to say wide receiver. One, all the receivers are off the board that I would consider taking, and two, they don't go receiver in the first round. I also think corner is in play. Jahdae Barron is here. I just don't think he's going to be on the board in this spot, and we're not taking the same player multiple times in the series. We have taken Barron already in a previous episode, so Barron is off the board for this exercise. So we're going to go with an edge rusher. Donovan Ezeraku makes so much sense for the Green Bay Packers. One, he's a guy coming off a phenomenal season for Boston College where he was one of the most productive edge players in the entire country. 6'2", 248 pounds, 42 run stops, 61 pressures, 14 sacks on an 18.6% pass rush win rate. This guy knows how to win. He's incredibly smart, incredibly active with his hands. He's a very good run defender, forced 3 different fumbles. I think he's explosive off the line of scrimmage, had a 35.5-inch vertical. He moves so fluidly. His bend is phenomenal. There is so much to love about his game. The biggest concern I think people are going to have, his pad level can be inconsistent, and I don't think he is the fastest guy in the world. He's quick off the line of scrimmage. He's got good explosiveness. His speed into the backfield can be questionable. But for a team that, to be quite honest with you, they struggle to consistently create pressure, you're going to need to add depth on this defensive line within your first 2 or 3 picks. I think they should be in the Trey Hendrickson trade market. We'll see if that ever ends up materializing. But at 23, I'm taking Ezeraku, not just because of the talent he is, but he's also got ties to the coaching staff. Jeff Hafley being the former coach of Boston College. I think this is a match made in heaven, one of my favorite player-team fits in the entire draft. I'm taking Donovan Ezeraku at number 23. On the clock here at 54, I really hate the way that the board fell for us. It's a shame. I really wanted to go with a corner. Azariah Thomas went 1 pick before us. I was really looking at potentially going Darian Porter. I was also considering going Maxwell Hairston and the Benjamin Morrison pick. All of them went off the board, and I'm just not in a position to reach on corner. I think at 87, we could potentially look to go get one of those guys that are on the board, but it's just not a great corner class right here. I think we probably could go receiver here. Jaden Higgins, I took him in my last mock draft. I just think it's unreasonable that he will be on the board. He's just not going to be available here. So for the sake of realism, we're not going to take him here. I do think receiver is very much in play, though. Trey Harris can be that big play receiver for you. Great speed, deep ball, route runner. I think he makes a lot of sense for this team, could be your Christian Watson replacement. I get that, but I'm actually going to go with Jack Bech here out of TCU. I know this is going to seem a little bit high for a guy that is not the greatest athlete in the world. That's just not his game. Is not the fastest player, but he is such a fluid player. Incredible route runner, 66.7% contested catch rate, 9 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards this season. Tremendous story. This is a hard-nosed football player. He's a really good route runner. Like I said, not the greatest speed in the world, not the most athletic, but he knows how to win the 50-50 balls. He's incredibly strong at the catch point. He's physical, 6'1", 218 pounds, a former tight end, converted receiver. But he just does all the little things you want to see in a receiver. Runs routes well. He'll block his ass off, which you absolutely love to see. And I think he's a really fun wide receiver prospect. One of my favorite players, not just receivers, my favorite players in the draft class. He is a really, really good player. My number 6 receiver in the class. I'm going to take him here for Green Bay at 54. Remember, Higgins would have been the pick. He is just off the board. And to be honest with you, I like Bech better than I like Higgins anyway. So I'm going to go with Bech because I think he complements what you have in this receiving room. Jaden Reed has been that deep ball gadget type of player for them right now. They don't have a true number 1. They don't have a true X guy. And with Romeo Doubs only having 1 year left on his deal, I think Jack Bech makes all the sense in the world. So we got a call from the LA Rams, and I'm going to make this move with them. I'm going to trade back 3 spots, but we're moving up 32 spots right now. So we're going to trade 159 for 127. The Rams are going to move up just 3 spots, and we're going to move back and acquire an extra 4th. I think this is a very fair trade for us. We get a little bit extra draft capital. There's some players I'm looking at on the board. I just would like a higher pick at 127 is really what it comes down to. This offer came across my desk. I think it's a no-brainer. We're going to make this move with the Rams. So we're on the clock here at pick 190, and we have to go corner. We mentioned that we wanted to go with one at 54. They all came off the board. We can't let that happen again. We can't wait till pick 124. And I'm going to take Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech. This is a really fundamentally sound corner. He's 6 foot, 179 pounds, just really great instincts. Great in zone coverage, fluid hips, his change of direction, really solid. He's pretty strong for the cornerback position, and he's been a productive player for the Hokies over his career. He had a really solid season this past year for Virginia Tech. He's got good length, almost 32-inch arms, 75-inch wingspan. I will say his play strength can be inconsistent, but he did 15 reps on the bench, which was a pretty solid number at the combine. The big area of him is going to be the lack of elite athleticism. He always seems to be a step behind. His long speed is not phenomenal, but this is a guy that if you play an off-man scheme, he's going to be able to thrive. With Jair Alexander likely out the door, you're going to need to replenish this cornerback room, and the depth chart there, it's just not a very good secondary. They have struggled over the last couple of seasons. They didn't address it last year. We're probably going to double down in this draft on corner. I'm going to take Dorian Strong, just a fundamentally sound guy that I think could be a plug-and-play starter early in his career. He's going to be my pick here at number 90. On the clock here at pick 124, I am going to address the interior of this defensive line. If you look across the board, this is a Green Bay team that consistently struggled to stuff the run. Whether it be Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, they really struggled up front. And I think that they need to address it early. Jordan Phillips out of Maryland is a player that I really like. He's one of the younger defensive players in this draft class, but is a run defense specialist. He only had 16 pressures this past season and has been very unproductive as a pass rusher. But as a run defender, he has phenomenal body control, has a former wrestling background, and he knows how to win the leverage battles at the line of scrimmage. 0 missed tackles in his career, plays low, is very strong, and I think he brings some great upside as a run defender. As a pass rusher, you've got a lot of concerns about what his upside can be. He's really stiff, pretty tight in his lower half. So that's why I am ultimately going to go with Jamari Caldwell. It's between one of these two guys, and Caldwell, to me, gives you the slight advantage. He's 6'2", 332 pounds, but he also is a phenomenal athlete. This is a guy that did a 5.17 at the combine at his size. Really impressive numbers. Very strong, very powerful, a guy that has been a more productive pass rusher than Jordan Phillips. He had a 9.3% pass rush win rate this past season. Great run defender, great size. I think he has the athleticism to develop into being more of a pass rusher. So I'm going to take a chance here. I'm going to go Jamari Caldwell at 124 and really develop him to being a nose tackle for me in the future. Reminds me a lot of a player Packers fans should be well familiar with in B.J. Raji. He's going to be my pick at 124. On the clock here at 127, and the Jets want to move up, and I'm going to make another trade back. We're just getting more valuable draft capital. So we're turning pick 127 into 145. We're moving back 18 spots, but I look at it as we're moving up 36 spots and moving from the 6th to the 5th round. This is an easy trade for me. Again, there's not a ton of needs left on this team that I feel like we need to get in the top 140. So I'm going to move back, add an extra 5th rounder, and make this trade with the Jets. Here at 145, I'm going to go offensive line, and I know this isn't going to be the most popular pick amongst Packers fans, but I think the future on this offensive line looks pretty dark, to be completely honest with you. Left tackle, you've got Rasheed Walker. You have nobody after that. If he goes down, they don't have an insurance plan. I know they drafted Jordan Morgan last year, but a lot of people think he's going to be a guard at the next level, and they've got him listed as the backup right guard behind Sean Ryan, who's got 1 year left on his deal, as does right tackle Zach Tom. This team is going to need to make some moves on the offensive line, and I think drafting a guy here at 145 that can be a depth piece, can be a swing tackle, is super important. Logan Brown out of Kansas is my guy in this class that I just don't think is getting the respect that he deserves. Great athlete that's really light on his feet, can move up into the second level with great quickness, and he's really solid in pass protection. Balance can be a bit of a concern. His anchor was up and down, and he does play pretty high, which leads to him getting beat inside. But this is not going to be a starting right tackle right away. If you want to develop him, I think he can be that player, but you've got to address some help on this offensive line. I think this is a guy at 6'6", 312. You could kick him inside to guard as well. He just brings you versatility on the offensive line that I just don't think this team has right now. So I'm going to go with Logan Brown at 145 and hope that he could be a good swing tackle and rotational offensive line piece for us. On the clock here at pick 162, and I am going to go with Cody Simon, the linebacker out of Ohio State. Simon is a top 100 guy in this class for me. I think he's a really, really good player that just isn't getting the respect he deserves in this draft class. He's a great run defender. He's a thumper when he comes downhill. Powerful player that has quickness and athleticism to be dialed up as a blitzer, can pin his ears back consistently. Go back and watch the Indiana game where this dude was everywhere for the Buckeyes. But it's not just that. I think he gives you some instincts in coverage. He was smart in zone coverage, knew where to pick up assignments, where they were crossing across the field, and I thought he was a really smart football player. He does need to tone down his aggression at times, can be a bit of an overextender as a run defender, but if you pair him next to Edger and Cooper, I think you could potentially have a really good linebacker duo. I thought they wasted a draft pick on Tyron Hopper last year that just felt way overdrafted for a guy that I thought was very scheme specific. And unfortunately, you just haven't gotten a lot of great play from Quay Walker. He's been very inconsistent for this team. I think Cody Simon is a better football player than Quay Walker. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. At the very worst, he could be a number 2 linebacker for you, and you can hope that he develops into being a future piece. But I'm not passing on the talent here. I'm going to take him at 162 to be a potential starter for me down the road. Here at pick 237, I'm going to go back on the defensive line and just get a hybrid piece, a guy that I think can play a little bit of inside, can play a little bit of outside, and be a versatile player along this defensive front, and that's going to be Ahmad Hassanin out of Boise State. Really surprisingly fun watch from him, a guy that I thought was a really good player, 6'2", 273 pounds, not a great athlete, ran a 1.7 at the combine, or ran a 4.77, a 1.7 10-yard split, but He's a better mover than you would expect. Pretty fluid player with a good power profile, relentless motor, player who works exceptionally hard to get into the backfield, which I love. Has some ups and downs as a pass rusher, and getting off blocks can be a big concern for him at times. Shorter arms for the position, but at 237, I think he's worth a potential flyer on because I think he's got upside. He shows good explosiveness. He shows the ability to win with power, get after the quarterback. He was really productive over the last couple of seasons for this Boise State defensive line. He had 62 pressures and 10 sacks last year, so I like his game, and I think being a guy that you can move all over the defensive front is something this team is really going to like. So I'm going to take Ahmad Hassanin at 237. With our final pick here at 250, we have to go corner again because I think it has been that big of a weakness. I'm going to go with Robert Longerbeam. This is a guy that I think just brings you a little bit more athletic upside than Dorian Strong. He doesn't exactly have the fundamentals that Strong does, but he is a far superior athlete and a really good player. 5'10", 171, ran a 4.39 at the combine and 11.2 at his pro day on the broad jump. Incredibly quick, incredibly shifty, athletic, physical in press coverage, but a guy that has a lot of room to grow, has had some issues with missed tackles throughout his career, could be overly aggressive at times, allowing for big plays, undersized, got confused at times in zone. This is a guy that is probably going to be a slot guy at the next level, and I know they draft or picked up Nate Hobbs in free agency, but just look at the depth chart. Outside of him, you've got Kalen King, who was a 7th-round pick last year. You've got Kamal Haddon, who I really liked. You picked him up, but they just don't have a lot of depth in this cornerback room. We're just going to continue to add to that. And I'm going to draft Robert Longerbeam with our last pick at 250. So there we have it, Packers fans. My 7-round Green Bay Packers mock draft. Very defensive-oriented, but I think it is for the better. Their defense had its ups and downs last year. Get some help along the edge, be better against the run, add some nice pieces in the secondary, and I think this team is going to be a lot better next year. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think down in the comment section below? Leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.